Rihanna has joined the cult of climate change in a major way with this one. And it wasn't even that long ago that a bunch of people on the right were actually applauding Rihanna because she wore a t shirt that said something along the lines of, "Think while it's still legal." Now, I don't know if she was trying to make a statement with that t shirt or if somebody just gave it to her so she wore it. And I also don't know who is advising her or her foundation to donate $15 million to climate justice, not climate change, not climate crisis or the climate catastrophe, and definitely not global warming, but climate justice, because these people have to roll all of their bizarre causes into one giant, disgusting woke burrito. And in all of these years of climate change fear-mongering, I still haven't heard an answer to the question of how money is going to help solve the problem of climate change, or how money, in this case, is going to stop the climate from being racist, or whatever it is. Rihanna's foundation donates $15 million to climate justice. Rihanna is backing her belief that climate change is a social justice issue by pledging $15 million to the movement through her Clara Lionel Foundation. So over and over again, we were told that you can't weigh in on Rona because you are not a doctor and you are not a scientist. You cannot weigh in on abortion because you are not a woman. But also, men and women are exactly the same. They're completely interchangeable. But when you want to weigh in on climate change, all you have to do is be at least a millionaire, maybe sing a song, maybe act in a movie, and definitely fly private. So they say, the We Found Love singer on Tuesday announced the donation to 18 climate justice organizations doing work in 7 Caribbean nations and the United States. So I don't know, to me, it just seems like money laundering, but what do I know? They include the Climate Justice Alliance, the Indigenous Environmental Network, and the Movement for Black Lives. So I don't know what any of these organizations even claim to do, and I also don't know what the Movement for Black Lives is. Is that not the same as Black Lives Matter? Or have they tainted their own reputation so badly that they have to tweak the name just a little bit? I don't know. Climate disasters, which are growing in frequency and intensity, do not impact all communities equally, with communities of color and island nations facing the brunt of climate change. Rihanna, who's from the Eastern Caribbean island of Barbados, said in a statement. Well, obviously, she did not write that statement. Who knows who's penning these Greta-like statements for Rihanna, but it's not her. And I'm also old enough to remember a time when we did call this global warming. It was a global problem that was an existential threat, and it was going to wipe all of us out if we didn't stop driving cars and start eating the bugs. But now somehow it is targeting communities of color and island nations, and I'm wondering, is Martha's Vineyard really worried about that? Are they worried about the climate justice? I don't know. She noted that disparity is the reason for her foundation, which is named after her grandparents, prioritizes both climate resilience and climate justice work. So I was just learning what climate justice actually is, and they've already introduced a new one, climate resilience. They come up with these new catchphrases and buzzwords, it seems like every single day. The grants made in partnership with Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's hashtag Start Small Philanthropic Initiative are focused on groups with female, LGBT, and Black and Indigenous leaders because their communities are at the greatest risk. So again, I thought this was a global issue that was going to take all of us out, but somehow it is targeting the communities of color, the Black and Indigenous, and LGBT people somehow. And also, they seem to have dropped the Q from LGBTQ. That seems a little bit bigoted, or maybe we're just going in the right direction, and sooner than later, we won't have to deal with that acronym at all. Anyways, funders must build partnerships with grassroots organizations, acknowledging their deep understanding of what is necessary to achieve climate justice in their own communities. Justine Lucas, Clara Lionel Foundation's executive director, said. So maybe Miss Lucas is the one writing these Greta-like statements for Rihanna. I'm not quite sure. So I was just figuring out what climate justice is. I don't know if it's like reproductive justice, when one of those weird Castro brothers suggested that transgenders or birthing people or whatever it is should be able to kill their babies when they introduce climate resilience. But anyways, that aside, a brief search of the term climate justice will of course bring up Wikipedia, and they tell you right up front that this article may be confusing or unclear to readers. In particular, some sentences are too complicated. Okay, so maybe this is a grammar thing, or maybe this entire movement makes absolutely no sense. And they also have a little section down here about the root causes of climate justice, or climate injustice, I should say. And it's funny because they talk about an argument that has been going on between people who think capitalism is the root cause of the climate injustice. So, just so we're clear, a filthy rich pop star who was able to take full advantage of capitalism is now giving away $15 million from her foundation, of course, to solve the perceived problem that is caused by the capitalism that allowed her to get so rich. I'm not really sure I'm understanding what's happening here. And the same, of course, with the rest of the jet set celebrities who are super scared of the sun monster, like Leonardo DiCaprio. And just to bring it full circle, one of the other top search results that comes up when you search for the term climate justice is, of course, the World Economic Forum. So they ramble on for so long here just to tell you that somehow the climate is in fact racist.